Welcome back to Fight Now. Cody Safdie here with you, now joined on the line by a man who really needs very little introduction to fans of the knockout. It's Paul Semtex Daley. Paul, thanks for dropping by the show today.
No problem.
You're back in action at Bellator 158, takes place on July 16th in London, England, and you'll be taking on former champion Douglas Lima. Because of your stature in the division and him being a former champion, are you looking at this fight as a potential title eliminator?
It definitely is a title eliminator. There's the way the fight was sold to me, and it's the way that it's the thing that makes the most sense. He's the former champion. Being the former champion definitely it means you're of the caliber to be the champion. So it would make sense for me to challenge for the title next.
Originally, you were supposed to take on Josh Koscheck in a very highly anticipated rematch on this card. Obviously, Koscheck was forced out of the bout due to injury. Is it hard to stay motivated in the gym when you go from having a grudge match against someone you have history with to a completely different fight, like a guy like Douglas Lima?
I'm over the fight. I'm really over the fight. I kind of think like the opportunity is not so much mine. He's the one who had 5 losses on the bounce. This was giving him that, more recognition and, as far as attention to what he's doing next, it was a solid fight for him and it was getting a lot of attention. So, me personally, I was quite happy with just banging people out and just working my way towards that Bellator title. So, yeah, I'm over the fight. If it doesn't happen, it doesn't happen. I wish him the best of luck.
And is the fight with Koscheck something you're still looking towards, or is this almost dead news at this point? I mean, since he's been signed, you've had a number of fights, and he's been forced out a number of times due to injury. Is this a fight that you would like to reconsider down the road, or are you pretty much finished with the Josh Koscheck saga for the time being?
I think the extra edge comes from fighting the former champion, a guy like Douglas Lima, a dangerous guy. As I am about Douglas Lima, I'm 100% confident that I'm going to defeat Douglas Lima as I was Koscheck, but Koscheck didn't really present that extra element of danger. If you're in the military and you go on exercise, yeah, you're drilling for war, but it's not war. When you go to a war zone, those bullets are live. Your senses are heightened. You're that extra level up, and that's how I feel with the Lima Koscheck fight. Preparing for war and actually being in a war is different.
Now, you're known as Semtex, obviously, because of that huge explosive power, and you're known for getting the knockout in the majority of your career wins. But you've also been focusing a lot on the grappling in recent years, and we most notably saw that in the Tyron Woodley fight, where you attempted a rolling omoplata. Being that you are working on your grappling a lot, fans know you for the knockout. How much of a possibility do you think it is to go out there and potentially get a submission win over a guy like Douglas Lima?
Yeah, there's that possibility, I train Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu, I train submission wrestling, I train submissions for MMA. I'm constantly training and I'm training with elite level guys. BJJ black belts the same as Woodley, the same as Lima, training with elite wrestlers. I'm comfortable wherever the fight is, and that's just it. Will I be actively seeking to put myself in a position to go for moves such as a rolling omoplata against Douglas Lima? Probably not, but you never know.
Now, for the last number of years, you've been running your own camp, Spirit Dojo. Now that you're a gym owner as well as a professional fighter, how do you find that balance of getting yourself ready for a fight, but also trying to run a program at a gym and helping other people prepare?
Well, the gym actually came about for my fighting. It wasn't a business. It was partly a business move, but more for my fighting. I figured at that time I was traveling everywhere to train, and I thought, why not just have my own gym? And if money can be made off it, or at least if I can cover the rent of having my own gym, then, why not do that and just have my coaches and the team that I like around me train under one roof? And so that's what I did. So there isn't really that pressure. I only have 2 classes a day, and they only last for an hour. The rest of the time it's all about me as far as my training is concerned, or resting. So it's not too much of a commitment. It's not a full-time gym like a lot of these other gyms that fighters are.
With being signed to the Bellator MMA organization, you also have another outlet now that they have Bellator Kickboxing. And I mean, you're someone who spent a lot of time in the kickboxing realm. In fact, you went 6-0 and you kind of took a little bit of time off MMA and transitioned back into kickboxing. Is this something you would flatter, to be able to take MMA fights and kickboxing fights under the same banner kind of at the same time? Or are you more focused just on your mixed martial arts career and potentially earning that title shot?
No, I want to do both. Definitely, I want to be the Bellator 170-pound MMA champion and the 170-pound kickboxing champion. That is where I see my career going, and that would just be, that would be, I wouldn't say a dream come true, because, I don't really do too much dreaming. I'm an achiever, so I've had that goal, and I'm looking forward to that day.
Last question for you. The UK recently just had their referendum. Now, I'm not going to pretend I'm an expert on it, but it seems like for someone like yourself, a professional athlete, someone who needs to travel all over Europe and kind of all over the world, how much does this affect you? How much will this change things for professional athletes in your same position?
Okay, are we talking about breakfast or Brexit? What are we talking about?
Yeah, Brexit.
There we are. Okay, yeah. The Brexit thing for me is like, I have opinions on it, but I think it would be naive of me to really call it either way, such as some of my friends and people are. I don't think we know enough about anything that the government does or are doing. So I'm kind of just neutral. As long as my immediate family are okay and my day-to-day life isn't changed drastically, then I'm easy, whether we're in Europe or out of Europe. Like you say, I travel around a lot, so I'm kind of a man in the world. So for me, it's just be happy, be healthy, be in Europe, be in, the United States, Spain, England, out of England. It makes no difference to me.
Well, thank you very much, Paul. We are always excited to see you back in action. And if you want to see the return of Paul Semtex Daley, you can do so July 16th at Bellator 158, going down in London, England, and you can catch the main card live on Spike. Paul, thanks again for taking the time, and best of luck to you.